Hello and welcome to Unshakable with Human Design. I'm your host, Nicole Lano, and we are here today with our final episode in the Human Design Profiles series. This is a series that we started several weeks ago. We have gone all through all 11 of the profiles so far, and today we hit number 12, where we are making our way we've made our way all through the hexagram. We've looked at every possible combination after today, and I'm so excited that you're still here with me. I hope you've listened to the whole series because it is very interesting to go through even the profiles that are not yours, to understand how we're all built differently. That you might have the same incarnation cross as somebody, but if you're a 2-4 and they're a 3-5, it's going to show up differently. You might have the same conscious sun. You might both be emotional manifesting generators. But if you have a different profile, you're going to have a very different destiny. Things are going to be really different for you. And this opened my eyes to so many things. And we've talked, if you've been listening to this whole profile series, you've heard me say that profile is so important because it is so connected intrinsically to the incarnation cross, which is our purpose. And we cannot live out our purpose if we are not in alignment with our profile. You can't play the lead role in your movie if you aren't playing the character that you were born to play, that you were designed to play. If you're trying to make the character seem like another character that you saw in a different movie, and you're like, oh, I really liked that one, I want to be that instead. We don't really get to do that. You get to be your version of this character. That's what being an individual is. But this is going to be the way that you make your way through life. The profile is going to be that thing that if you're fighting it and you are resisting it, you're probably going to have resistance in your life and you're going to feel maybe like things aren't so fulfilling. Maybe you feel like you are either wildly off path or you just feel like, I feel like I'm so close, but I'm not on it. I'm a step or two off of where I'm supposed to be, where I'm meant to be. And we don't want that. When we feel like things are clicking, when we feel like things are just clicking into place, that's when it becomes effortless. That's when life becomes fun. That's when it unfolds like this kind of magical journey. We have to step into it. There's always something about our profile that's kind of daring us and calling us to be a bigger version. And it tells us how we get bigger. Like, what's your big version? What's the big version for you? And of course, type is going to play a role in that. Your authority is going to play a role in that. What profile you are is going to play a role in that. All of it. My big is going to be different than your big. How you show up is going to be different than how I show up. But it's when we find our version of who we were designed to be, that's when it feels like magic. That's when everything feels like life just becomes kind of fun in that space. So that's what the show is all about. So I thank you for, if you've listened to every episode in this profile series, please share it on Instagram, tag me. I'm at Nicole Lano Official. We're actually giving away a reading on the show. If you share about this series with anybody on social media and you tag me, if you share it, you'll be entered automatically to win that. And we'll announce the winners after the series is over. But this is something that I'm very excited to close out. I'm very excited that you came along on this whole journey with me. And now we're here at the 6-3 profile. If you're a 6-3, you had to wait all the way to the end. So I'm sorry, you had to be patient. Usually you do. Okay, now you know how the reflectors feel because they're usually the last ones that get headed to anything about type. But now we're talking about the 6-3. We did the 6-2 in the last episode. We covered the 6-2, which was the role model hermit. Now we keep that profile, that personality number the same. And we change the back number. We change the design number from a 2 to a 3. So we keep a 6, and now we move up the hexagram to the 3 line. Now we get really interesting because these two profiles, while they might sound the same, and a lot of the things that I'm going to say are the same, these are very different people. The energy of a 6-2 versus a 6-3 is very different. 6-2s, there's always that leadership. There's quiet leadership. The 6 is always present. But that 2 to a 3 gives you a very, very different expression. And you get a very, very different destiny. Okay? So the 6-3, let's just talk about like, even, I look at this as like, this is where optimism meets pessimism. The role model and the martyr. The role model that's kind of looking and saying, we can do it. We can be better. I see the way. I just know it. I just know that we can make it. Humanity can make it. I know we can do better. I know we can. There's just that hope. I talked about Barack Obama is a 6-2. He wrote a book called The Audacity of Hope. That's such a 6 line, and particularly a 6-2 kind of message, right? That is such a tagline for the 6, the audacity of hope. But now we've got it with the 3. So now we've got this audacity of hope and dreams and vision, and we can do it. Yes, we can. You see what I mean? We speak our alignment, right? We speak our design. That was his campaign slogan, was yes, we can. 6 line, yes, we can. And we believed it. Why? Because that was true for him. He wasn't bullshitting us. At least in that respect, he was being completely and authentically himself in that slogan. Yes, we can. It was very true to him. But now we have a 3 in the back, not the 2. And the 3 says, maybe we can't. Lots of stuff goes wrong in my world. It's the martyr. We have the role model meeting the martyr. We have optimism meeting pessimism. We meet the one that's kind of always looking forward, and the 3 that's kind of in it, in the stuff, in the weeds, going, oh God, things are hard. Now, like I said before, when we've talked about 3s, the 3s, not every 3 is pessimistic. Not every 3 is feeling like put upon by the world. Not every 3 feels like things are hard all the time. Some 3s are just, they found their groove with this, and they're like, trial and error is how it works. I don't know how it works. Let me try it. I'll figure it out. I might break it. So what? That's what we do. We learn. 3s can have that attitude. So I had some people messaging me on some of the, I don't know if it was the 1-3 video or the 3-5, or, you know, I don't know which one they were sending me messages about, but some people got a little upset that I was talking about the 3s being pessimistic, and that, you know, things break for the 3, and the 3s can feel a little like nothing works for them, and like it'll always be that way. And I want to make that very clear. And I thought I did, because my husband is a 3, and I don't think that he at all resonates with that, you know, pessimistic attitude. He's a very optimistic person, because he's just like, because he has the idea, he has the feeling like, you know, I don't know, if it doesn't work, I'll figure it out. Because that's what 3s do. They figure it out. They are resilient. There is, I think, in the highest expression of the 3, they are resilient. They are fearless. They will figure it out for sure. So now we did a 3-6 episode. We have 3 6s. Now we have a 6-3, and you might be like, oh, well, how are they different? Well, they're different because the 6-3 is transpersonal and the 3-6 is a personal destiny. And that is a very big fundamental difference. The 6-3 is here to externalize stuff. Their destiny is tied to other people. They must influence. They must interact. They must come down off that hill and share and lead. Now, 3-6s might lead. They're going to lead a little bit differently. It won't matter as much to them fulfilling their purpose necessarily. It's going to be their journey of discovery of themselves and whatever it is that they experience, because that's really what this is about. This is a 3-6 is going through their life being like, you know, what is this about me? What is this about me? What is this about me? And there's leadership. People might see leaders in them because of that 6 line in the back. That might be a role that they're able to step into. That journey is going to be important for them, but it's their journey. A 6-3 is going to be like, this is about more than just me. This is going to be more interpersonal than just personal. And that's what we're talking about here. That's the main fundamental shift. But then we also have the 6 is what they identify with. 6-3s are like, I am a leader in some way. I know I'm going to be one if I don't feel like one already. And so the 6-3 has the ability. So what they're doing is, we have that same 3-stage life process, right? That we've gone through in all of the episodes that I've talked about 6s. We've gone through this, but I'm going to do it again because maybe you didn't listen to those other ones. But I try to say it differently every time. I try to give a little bit more flavor, and I'm trying to give it context into how this plays out. So for the first 30 years of life, this person, if you're a 6-3, until you're about 28 to 30 years old in your first Saturn return, you're a 3-3. You are bumping into life and life is bumping into you. It might have felt like chaos for the first 30 years. Now that can feel like rebellion. That can feel like a whole lot of fun. That can feel like a reckless abandon with life. Screw it, let's do it. I don't know, let's try it and see what happens. That kind of attitude. But we talked about how sometimes the 6 knows it's a 6. I think they all do. The 6 knows that they are going to be a role model, that they're on a bigger journey, that this is probably temporary. Or if it's not temporary, they know that there's a responsibility that they have. And I think when you put that 6 in the front, they're really identifying with it because it's their personality. And they're saying I don't know if this is going to last forever. I'm not going to, necessarily break relationships all the time because the 3 is bonds made and broken, man. This was cool for a time. We had fun. Next. Thank you, next. Moving on. That's what the 3 does. It's detached. And the 6 on the inside, that 6 that knows it's a 6 but is a 3 for those first 30 years, they might be like, I really want that to be my soulmate. I really want that to be my person. Maybe I can make it my person. And that's where trouble happens. They have to go through their process and they have to figure out what is correct for them. And they've got to make that from a truthful place. Are these the right experiences and are these the right people for me? And if that happens, that first 30 years provides rich, fertile soil for amazing things to bloom in the second stage of their life, which is this 30 to 50. Where they climb up on the roof. Here's the thing about this that's different than all the other ones. Well, the 3-6 is similar, but what's different about this is, so they climb up on the roof. Now they're a 6. So now they're a 6-3 and they're up on the roof. 6 graduates and says, I'm going up to the second floor and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to climb up to that roof. And I'm sitting on the roof and I'm not really paying attention to what anybody else is doing in the house. But this 3 line unconscious keeps pulling me down off the roof and making me go do 3-line things again. Making me go have these experiences, making me get my hands dirty, making me go out and engage in a way that maybe I don't really want to engage fully with all the time. So there is this push-pull between this 6 and the 3. They are the same but different. They are flip sides of the same coin. They are a polarity, so to speak. They are technically in harmony, but harmony actually, in the way we talk about it in design and in profile, it actually creates a lot of tension because they are pulling in opposite directions, but they're kind of the same frequency, just a different flip of it. So now we have this 6 line that's I need to retreat. I need to take a break. I need to process. I need to heal. That's what that second phase of life is about. But that 3 line might be sitting there and saying, nah, let's go. Let's just do it. And this is what makes them unique. And this is what makes them different than the 6-2, who is all too happy to hang out on the roof. That 2 is thank God. But the 3 is this is boring. What are we doing up here? There's no people up here. There's nothing for us to do. We just keep watching and thinking and feeling and boo. Let's go have some fun. Let's go break some stuff and see what happens. And now what we're pairing it though with, we have that, that 3 that says, let's break it and see what happens, with a 6 that actually has the optimism to see how we could maybe change things through all of that experience. That's what's being brewed. And that's what happens in that second stage. So the first stage is the doing. But what we're doing is that first stage of life is the experimental phase that gives all the material, right? That second phase, climbing up on the roof, watching, observing, reflecting, retreating, processing, all of that healing. That second phase, those 2 things are actually happening simultaneously now for a 6-3. They're not just processing, although it's really important that they make time to process and they don't just keep coming down off the roof, that they actually do retreat enough and stand up for themselves enough to say, still retreating. I'm good right now, but I'll be back. They need to have that balance, coming off the roof and going back up, coming off the roof, going back up. Because what's happening in that second phase is they are processing all that happened and all they've seen and all they've reflected on and all of that stuff. And it's those experiences that are creating the role model. So they can be called off the roof, off the hill, and they'll be called for the benefit of that experience. They'll be called for the things that they see that don't work. Because they are the ones who can actually lead you through or lead people through to something that actually does. They have the vision and the experience. They also have that fearlessness that comes with being a 3, a true 3. That they are fearless and a bit wild, and the 3 is they're funny usually, and kind of they can be irreverent and not take life too seriously. And the 6 can take life very, very seriously. So you get this balance where they can actually see a way forward that other people can't. Because they've been there, done that. It's the true 6 experience because they are so embodied in the experience of life. They're always re-engaging and reflecting, re-engaging and reflecting. And that's what makes them unique, and that's what makes them special. They can truly innovate. Because the 3s can break stuff, whether they can fix it or know how to get past the things that break remains to be seen. Depends on the individual, depends on the life they lead, it depends on the way that they approach things, But when you have a 6-3, that ability to really innovate because they are not afraid to break stuff, but they're always looking forward. They've always got their finger on the pulse of what's next. They have that bird's eye view where they're like, okay, great, I'm taking everything that we've been doing, and here's the next thing. So some famous 6-3s are Dan Rather, the newsman, Harrison Ford, Han Solo. We all love Harrison Ford. The 2 of the Koch brothers, which I just learned today, were twins as I was researching for this episode. 2 of the Koch brothers, who were interestingly emotional manifestors and 6-3s, both of them, because they're twins. And then one that I think just resonates so perfectly with this is Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs, somebody undeterred by failure, undeterred by things not going well, ability to start things and just try, just start messing with stuff and seeing what we get. And then, but always having that vision pointed way out in the future and saying, but what's next? Okay, we're good. We're doing this. We're going to keep doing this. But what's the next thing? Because that needs to be cooking all the time, and we've got to be moving in that direction. Now, that's to me like a very aligned 6-3 sort of way to go through the world, because that's really what the profile is telling you. How do you go through the world? How do you make your way through the world? Well, you make your way through the world if you're a 6-3 in alignment through embracing that experimental phase reflecting and becoming a reflective person to be able to understand what really happened during those first 30 years, and then sharing that wisdom in some way and really materializing it in a way that's guiding others. So I thought that he was a great example of that. I think that I always use him as an example, like, oh, Steve Jobs was a 6'3". So if you're a 6'3", how do you look at your first 30 years of life? What do you look at when you see that first 3-3 phase of your life? Are you on the roof now? Are you giving yourself time to reflect? Or are you wondering why you slowed down so much and why it feels so weird? Start to honor where you're at in your stages and see what happens. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for making it to the end of this episode. If you've listened to any or all of the profile episodes we've done in this series, I thank you for every single moment that you gave to us here. I hope that it was worth your time and you enjoyed it. I appreciate you. We'll be back with all different types of episodes coming in the future, but we'll close out this profile series now. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And remember, in order to have an unshakable business, you must first become an unshakable human. So thanks for letting us help you become unshakable with human design, everybody. We will see you next time.